Hello and welcome to another video. In wake of the growing SlapChop movement, I've chosen to name this method the SlopChop, mainly because it's a very sloppy quick way of painting. Now, why am I sharing this? I've done this method for, I wouldn't say years, but a while, as my go-to burnout method. So if I'm feeling burned out in any way, I'm just going to take a single model and I'm going to SlopChop it. This is how I'm painting my Skaven normally. It's been a project. It's an ongoing project. It takes a while. I don't like painting horde armies, but sometimes I just don't want to pay 40k or paint the same army, and then I'll just bash out a 1, 2, maybe 3 Skaven, and over time I've gathered like a reasonable Skaven force. Nothing large, around 1,000 points or something. Now, the second reason is that I was at my local game store and I asked a friend of mine why his army wasn't painted. He always plays with grey models and I'm a stickler for painted models. And he was frightfully honest. And so apparently motor skills, fine motor skills, is difficult for him. And he's not able to do the SlapChop because the problem with the SlapChop is that you actually have to be pretty accurate when you apply the contrast paints, because if it overlaps, well, you're going to see it through. Its contrast paints, they are pretty much transparent. They are relatively transparent. So that's when I thought, well, the SlopChop could do it for him. It's really a sloppy method of painting. It's very impressionistic, if you will, if you want to be artsy-fartsy. So let's just get to it. I have 8 paints on my palette. I have more than 8, but I have 8 paints I'm going to use. But we're going to start with painting things that are going to be blue, and I'm using a size 2 brush, and yeah, it's also going to be fun to see how long this actually takes. But I'm going to paint the coat of this red, dark Prussian blue from Vallejo, and I'm also going to paint his pants in the same style. And you don't have to be super accurate with this method. That's part of the joy of it. It's back to childhood for painting. It's really just, as Bob Ross would say, it's the joy of painting. And we're literally just slopping on paint where we sort of wanted to go. Nothing fancy, nothing too wild. I've picked this scheme, which is basically blue and orange, and then some down-to-earth tones. It's kind of inspired by like what is the Van Gogh painting, the Starry Night, or what's it called, the one with the swirly stars and the swirly sky. That one was the inspiration for the color scheme, and then mixed a bit with golf racing. Mainly because it is a single color and then some very poppy contrast. For the Van Gogh painting, it's blue or dark blue and then yellow stars. That's kind of all there is to that painting, says the guy who has no artistic background whatsoever. I paint Warhammer models once in a while. That is my artistic background. Don't worry about actually covering it nicely, just kind of cover it. I am purposefully being extra sloppy, even though usually I'm a sloppy painter. So it's nothing new for me to paint sloppily. The pants, the coat, just quick once over. Some blue, primed Chaos Black, or it's no longer called Chaos Black. It's because I'm kind of an old fart apparently. A Batten Black, or is the primer still called Chaos Black? And it's primed black. It's just black, which also allows us to cheat with the shadows a bit. Now, that's one color down. Let's just wash our brush, clean it off, and get to the next color. I like to jump to the metals now. For this I have Vallejo neutral gray, I think it is. It's neutral gray, yeah. Vallejo neutral gray. And we're just going to put this on the metal parts. That means the sword, which is this tiny thing here. It's the Skaven. They don't use large blades. They're more like stabby stabbies. Quick stabby stabbies, that's fine. And the pommel of the sword. Still, we're not too worried about coloring all the other bits. The punching dagger needs a bit of paint. Just like a bit of gray. Trying to keep this in frame. Still getting used to actually painting on camera once in a blue moon. There we are. Seems kind of covered. If you don't have the fine motor skills for any more than that, that's fine. If you do have the fine motor skills, you could get this band right here and paint it gray as well. Zip. Boom. That bit done. And then he kind of has a wristband. Let's also get that one. Quick coat of gray. We are not going to do anything fancy. You could also use metallics for this if you want to. I'm just going to do the world's sloppiest non-metallic metal. It's not even going. It's going to be so sloppy that it's not going to look truly metal. Which, in and of itself, is kind of metal. There we are. Because the sword is very much a focal point of this model, I'm going to give it a quick second coat to make sure that it is covered. Just the actual blade of it. It is such a focal point of this model, so just we want to draw the focus to the bits that are cool. That's our goal. Our goal is to kind of trick the human eye to think that this looks cool. Now, wash the brush. And the next color, we are going to jump all the way to brown. This is one of Citadel's, it's Gother brown. It could be any brown. It is literally just a run-of-the-mill brown. And we're going to ignore the fact that this guy has fur and skin. We're just going to paint everything that is skin or fur the same brown. His skin or fur, not actual leather details and stuff. We're going to skip those for later. There we are. So the arm, both arms of course. And if you hit the cloak, don't mind, it's fine. So there we got a bit of the top of the cloak, it's fine. So if you have it up close, yeah, you're going to see it. But if you have this from 4 feet away, who cares? You could use more time on the central figure of your army if you wanted to, because that's the one that's going to get picked up and looked at. In a horde army, the run-of-the-mill troops aren't really going to get picked up and looked at. Yeah, if you're going to use it as like an armies on parade army, maybe someone will look them up, like the judges and so on and so forth, but the only other people who are going to pick up the small run-of-the-mill troops, that's you. The face, that one is kind of easy. This guy has a cloak running all the way over top. You can't even, actually there are no eyes in here, you can't see anything, which is kind of hilarious in and of itself. But it's Skaven. Skaven and Gits, those are the sneaky ones. The other whoop, try to your best ability, as well as you can, to have some brush control. But if you miss, who cares? It doesn't matter. What's important is that you have fun doing this. And for me, this is where painting gets kind of zen, kind of meditative. It's back to like childhood painting, where you just took something and you just slop paint on it and it was fun. Didn't really have to make sense. At this point, it has to make sense, but that's it. That's kind of That's how far I'll go. It has to make sense. Let's get the other hand as well. If you can't get in there. If you couldn't paint the band earlier, just cover it in brown. No one will notice. Maybe give it a spot of gray later, just to indicate or give the impression that it's metal. And then you're fine. There we are. That was one side. Now we do have some more fur down here. Let's get that as well. Easy peasy. And some apps in there. And 2 more bits. The feet. I have mine covered primarily in basing material or basing paste. And there we are. And then the thing that I always forget on these and have to go back and paint later is the tail. There is the tail. Let's just quickly give that a coat of brown as well. It is skin or fur. In this case, it is skin. And I can never remember, even though I'm a biologist by trade, I can't remember if it is mice or rats that have furry tails. Something tells me that rats have naked tails. Mainly because rats are for some reason more nasty, and it sounds more nasty to have a naked tail than a furry tail. So yeah, imagine a dog with a furry tail or a naked tail. Seems weird. Good. Wash your brush. And the last color is black red from Vallejo. That's the last base color. Okay. Let's paint everything that hasn't been painted yet. So that's all of this webbing. This guy has a lot of webbing on his pants. At the bottom of his pants, like he has some kind of weird gaiters on. Give them some black red. And that bit there. He also has this pouch right here. Needs some color, so it's not just obvious black. And if you miss anything, or if they are hard to reach places, if in general, if a place is hard to reach, it's hard to view. That's kind of my mentality. He has some webbing in here on his chest, a rope, that bit. He has a pouch down here at his crotch. Paint that red as well. And paint these things over here. The symbol. Don't mind messing up, it's fine. Does he have any more webbing? It doesn't look like it. Nope. Wash your brush. Back to color 1, which was blue. Now we're going to take some Vallejo Sky Blue as our highlight color. It is, as you can see, it is quite a contrast jump. So from dark Prussian blue to sky blue. That is a jump. And we are just going to try and edge a highlight-ish. So we're just going to put our brush sideways on the model and we're just going to do it. So it's a mixture between dry brushing with very non-dry paint and edge highlighting. So everything that has a weird fold, the top of a fold, just give it some sky blue. Make it pop. And at that point I hit the tail. Doesn't matter. It's fine. There we are. Get this bit. That's kind of the back of him. Let's turn him over. Don't have too much paint on your brush. Don't have too little. But there is a large gap that is actually useful. That took some brown with it because the brown hadn't dried completely. There we are. That bit, there. Let's actually highlight some of this in here as well. just to show that we know it's there. Pants, same method. Quick and dirty. Some over here, some in there. That was the coat. Highlighted completely. Now wash your brush. Next we did our gray, so let's highlight our gray with some white. Just clean white. This is Vallejo's white, it could be any white. Usually I like to use Liquitex titanium white. Now it's just, I couldn't find my titanium white, so it became another white. The sword, once again, it's a focal point, so this one we'll take our time with. And we'll make a clean edge highlight. And we'll do the same, we'll turn it over. And we'll make a clean edge highlight there. And a clean edge highlight there. Good. We can do the same for the claw. The claw is less of a focal point, so we have more freedom to breathe. Whoop. And then see how many edge highlights you can get in. And you could do this just like the cloak. At least for this claw, because it is a lot of weird things pointing in all sorts of directions. The pommel, same idea. This wristband, same idea. It is going to read as metal to the eye. And this is the difficult part. Try to get a good point and try to follow this line as good as you can. Just go. Rather than take your time, try to go fast. So just, no matter that it didn't fit perfectly, it's a smoother line if you go fast. Now I'm going to try some wacky non-metallic metal that is not going, just FYI, it's not going to look like metal. We're going to do some some quick striation down here and some quick striation at the tip. And then some here at the middle, like that. And we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the exact same thing. Just with like the tip of the brush. And then the middle. And that's it. That was our non-metallic metal. We could get some more white. And we could try to just lift the absolute center and the edge of this. A bit more. Get this edge once more, get this edge once more. Do the same over here, that bit, and this tip. And that's our metal done. Wash your brush. Next color was brown, so let's have some brown. This is German beige from Vallejo. Get some on your brush. This is a paint I absolutely hate to use, but we're going to use it anyways because it's the one that I found works for me. And we're just going to, in the same sloppy way, the SlopChop, highlight the rest of the model. Everything that's brown gets a quick sloppy highlight. There we are. It's face. Don't forget the tail. Now you could cover up the blue mistake you made earlier. So I'll do that. This fur. The abdominal muscles. This fur in here. And don't mind that light won't hit it. It's fine. Let's just call it a very reflective bounce light and people will be happy. There we are. That was the brown. Wash your brush. Good, just because I want to. We could go back to the white and just give this one final quick coat. Same way as earlier. There. Center. Tip. Edge. There we are. Final color. Let's highlight the black red with some orange. Get some orange. This should be Troll Slayer orange. It is Troll Slayer orange from Citadel. And let's just this wallet thing. Quick edge highlight. This pouch. quick highlights. This rope, quick spot, that webbing. Sometimes it's stippling, sometimes it's edge highlighting, sometimes it's just smushing colors around. It is a bit of everything, and it is the most important thing is that it's fast and entertaining. Let's go with this bit. This webbing on this shoe. I think the webbing on the shoe needs some extra. They seem pretty resilient to paint for some reason. Let's go. There. Let's get this one more time. There we go. This. Some of the gubbins on this side. And there we are. Now all that's left to do is paint the base and then give it a black grip, and that is all. That's all there is to it. That is how easy this is. Now, in and of itself, this is probably not going to wow anyone whatsoever. But once you start to actually get a few of these, I've just found 5 from my collection. They start to sort of look like a cohesive force, and it starts to make sense why this method is useful. It's super easy to paint. Let's remove this colorful background and have them just on a basic table. They start to become an army, a cohesive army, and that's all there is to it. If we want this to be nice, we move this. You see, this is the newest guy. The non-metallic metal went better than it's done before, but it's not good. It gets the point across. It's not easy. It's not difficult to paint a decent army, and to do this with any model. So in my mind, there are 2 ways to get out of a mental slog. You either go out and you buy a model that you really like, and then you just do your best and have fun, and it shouldn't match any of your armies. You should just paint something you like. I do this with orcs as well sometimes. I just like cars, so this is the B&B M Racing Team colors, just because I wanted to do something different. Or you should just go back to being a child and just paint sloppily. Sloppily. Slop some paint on some models. Have fun. Enjoy. That's all there is to it. So with that said, this should do it for people who have problems with fine motor skills, who still want a painted army, and who aren't comfortable with the precision needed in the SlapChop. Bit slower than the SlapChop potentially, but I think it's a lot easier. So that's all there is to it. Until next time. Bye.